Life is as complicated as math. Well, life's pretty much that way. But the sooner you realize that things are going to be okay, then you don't have to worry. As some people say, you will not be given a problem unless you couldn't do something about it. And if the solution isn't right, then you gotta keep trying. Cause like math, there's going to be some hole out. You just gotta keep digging.
Hi, I'm Lorny and I'll be joining you guys as we unleash the power of math in every person's life.
And I'm Maddie. Speaking about life and math, I'm going to ask you this one real quick question. Is math really that significant in life?
Yes! To infinity and beyond! Perhaps? Maybe? Nope, not for me.
Me? I got nothing. If you have doubts about it, then let's all find out.
Math is important, very important, because math or mathematics permeates every human activity, whether we are aware of it or not. So kanang math nana sa atong palibot tanan. It's na mathematics sa nature, na mathematics sa industry, na mathematics sa school. But before I expound on that, I'd like to emphasize also that math is actually a universal language. What does it mean? Any civilization that has existed on Earth knew advanced math to prosper or progress through the centuries. So some of them disappeared, others flourished. But what is common in their existence as a people, as a civilization, is mathematics. Because from mathematics, there is you identify numbers, you identify equalities, inequalities, you quantify things or substances, and from there's an offshoot of many other disciplines such as calculus, algebra, and a whole lot of other fields that use math as its basic foundations. But apart from being a universal language, math is also the language of the universe. What does it mean? Well, if you look at the cosmos, it seems that there's an intelligent design behind the cosmos. So by intelligent design, we mean there's a mathematical, there's mathematics involved, there are numbers involved. Among many other things, the Fibonacci sequence or the divine ratio has applications in photography, because if you really take a closer look, photographers are concerned about beauty, and when you talk about beauty, you talk about nature, and when you talk about nature, you talk about the divine. So they named it the divine number. So being a divine number, they applied this on photography. So it became a composition essential among many photographers who needed a clear guide when composing their photographs.
Hello, I'm Eileen Astrid de Vera. I'm a fourth-year mass communication student, and I also work as a fashion model. So is math important in my life? Yes, it's very important in my life because everything that I do deals with math. Working as a fashion model surprisingly involves math. It is used when we get our talent fee and we compute how much we earn from the basic pay that is given to our manager. Another application of it in our work is that when we walk down the runway, there is supposed to be a formula that is followed. For example, we have to walk 16, that's like a full walk, and then back 8, that's like a half walk. And Another thing that it is applied in is when we try to lose weight. Yeah, that's because working as a model, we need to maintain our figure, which is like 35, 25, 35. Everything has to be in that standard because all of the dresses made for us is of equal sizes in that standard size. So sometimes we gain weight, and it is in that time that we should be losing weight, right? So we need to cut down on what we eat, and we need to compute sometimes how much calories, how much fat there is in our food. Another aspect in our work where math is applied is when we try to fit on the dresses that is supposed to be modeled. Somehow, there are certain shoes and that would pair the dresses that we should wear. So sometimes we're required to have high heels about 6 inches. That's the most we can wear. If the dress that we're wearing is very long, sometimes we are just required to have about 3 inches or just flats in our clothes. One of the basic requirements of being a fashion model is to be tall. Our standard height in our agency is, for the girls, is 5'5" to 5'9", or even higher. For the guys, they're supposed to be 5'10" and above. And that's how math is really important in our lives as fashion models.
Hi, I'm Francis Oyano. I'm a designer and a youth leader from the Philippines. Is math important in life and in your career? For designers, it's very important to have very good basics in math. A lot of people would just think that design is about colors, shapes, and forms. However, we have to deal with a lot of calculations, algorithms, and even geometry and symmetry. For example, in product design, you have to make sure that the products, for example, a chair, has to be ergonomic with the one using it. And for it to be ergonomic, you have to calculate and do a lot of simulations, which use a lot of mathematical equations, so that you give your user the most comfortable experience with your chair. In visual design or in gaming, a lot of designers in that field make use of algorithms and calculations for them to be able to achieve the gaming user experience that they want and to visually render what they wish for. And this has to do with a lot of simulations in the computer, which makes use of a lot of mathematical equations. And even in urban design and planning, in architecture and engineering, there are a lot of mathematical basics that have to be implemented in doing all these design field or design experience. So yes, design is very much related with mathematics, and mathematics is highly important for designers, for architects and engineers, and just about everyone in the design industry.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Cabonpue, and I'm an industrial designer. I think math is the foundation of everything we do. It's the basis for logic. It helps us think, and it allows our creativity and even our mind to develop in a very spatial and logical way. So it applies in my work because in anything you do, you can't get away without math. From the dimensions that I have to do, which is very obvious, to even calculations of proportions. And there is the science of beauty concerns itself with proportion and numbers. In my work, we try to delve into the science of beauty. What makes things beautiful? Why do we find some proportions better than others? And it always has to do with math. The science, the nature of numbers, the golden ratio to calculations of what we find harmonious and beautiful. And it always has to do with math and the logic of math.
Wow, you just witnessed the wonders of math from all of those people. Convinced now? But if you're still not into them, just think nothing comes in handy or better. Go and test it yourself.
Math is everywhere. You just have to see it, feel it, and embrace it.